Alrighty. So tell me a little bit about your background, where you're like coming from, and then start telling about your current situation. But give me a little bit background, like what you have been doing and how you ended up in doing what you're currently doing.
Yeah. So right now I'm, starting this consulting company. I'm trying to figure out who I really want to serve. But before that, for about 3.5 years, I was a therapist in the United States, working with clients with anxiety, with depression, with trauma, with PTSD. But that isn't the kind of demographic I really am passionate about serving right now. I noticed that the people I loved working with most were the ones that were more high functioning, but super motivated. A lot of them had like anxiety or self-doubt or limiting beliefs. And being able to take them on an inner journey to resolve those things and help them kind of achieve more peak performance. So for instance, I've worked with like an entrepreneur who had really bad anxiety on his sales calls, a college basketball player who had performance anxiety and social anxiety. I'm about to work with a man who I think he's like corporate in like Netherlands, who runs, some kind of investing firm, who's really dealing with self-doubt around his like career performance and his relationships, a venture capitalist who had a lot of anxiety. And for me, the really motivated people, I love working with them and just seeing them go through the transformation and like exceeding what they thought was possible. That's kind of what I'm really passionate about. And I've kind of narrowed it down to men, just because in the United States, I feel like the men's mental health market's really underserved because of the culture here. It's all about, men are expected to like just make money and like, be like career oriented and achieve, and they're not kind of encouraged to be in touch with their inner self, which is actually the key to doing better in your career and in your life. So I'm really passionate about working with men for now. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Alrighty, good. I wrote few things down here, things that piqued my interest here, and it's definitely this like high function, motivated, peak performance. The men who really they have goals, they're trying to achieve something, but then there's something blocking it. And I read that one Google Docs that you sent me. I didn't have time to check the value video, but I think it's like maybe the anxiety is really keyword here. And especially thinking like when you're starting out in your business, it's really important to niche down because you have limited time available. You can just take like a handful of clients at a time. And there's millions of people in US alone. In US alone, there's probably a million high-performing men who want to achieve more, who have some kind of like anxiety, some kind of, some blocks, something in their mental health is not okay. But that's your long-term vision, to serve them all or serve bigger slice of the cake, so to speak. But to get started, you have limited resources. So it makes sense to really identify where you can get started the fastest, get the best attraction going on. And that's like why at the start, it's good for you to probably be quite narrow niche to start. And then later on, you will widen it once you start to get traction and you can serve more people. Maybe you have a program, maybe you have employed people, your capacity grows. So you said that there was a basketball player who helped. There was this guy who is running investing firm. And then there was the example of the salesperson with anxiety. And from all these people who you have talked to, who you have helped, if you would have to pick one case and then multiply and get exactly the same kind of clients, who would you pick?
Probably the salesperson, but not for the reason you might think. It's simply because for him, he's like interviewing for more sales jobs, but he came to me after he was an entrepreneur for 4 years before this. He was in some kind of business program, but he didn't have the right mindset and heart set to take action. And what was really what I really love about working with him is that, you know, he's kind of going from zero to hero in his own life, and he's kind of blowing past what he thought was possible for himself. So for instance, he used to spend like, you know, hours a day in bed, like playing video games and watching YouTube because he was so like self-conscious about actually taking action towards his goals. And now he already has a full-time job, super motivated. Most of his anxiety is gone. He's taking action, and he's in a second round interview with like a sales company he's really passionate about. But it's that transition from like internally being like just not satisfied, like as a man where you are, and then really becoming like having a bulletproof mindset and passion and having endless energy. That's kind of what I really enjoy, simply because as well, it's not like he had severe mental health issues. He just had like experiences in his past holding him back that he wasn't aware of.
Okay, interesting. So now here we get to the second thing. It's not necessarily salespeople who have anxiety and it's stopping them from, really working, but it's maybe more about these people who are in this certain kind of situation. Because you can niche down by like group of people, what kind of problem is popping up, and there's different kinds of things. So things that I brought down is like bulletproof motivation and endless energy.
Could you repeat that?
Bulletproof motivation and endless energy.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds that good. Everyone wants that. Everyone has problems with the motivation. They're looking for the motivation, and then they experience that for 1 week, and then it goes away. But bulletproof motivation sounds exactly this: like it's not going to go away. And then endless energy, like you keep going. You don't crash. Everything's like kind of balanced. You move forward. You have the clarity and so on. So now, if we think more in a way that how we could find this kind of people, if that is like the state they want to reach, now what is the burning pain, the practical problems that arise there in their current life that they are painfully aware of? They might not understand why it's happening. They might have like they might what's the word, like accusing like external things because of those reasons, but they're going through that symptom. Let me give you an example. Someone might have a headache. That's the symptom that they're really aware of. They can put it in words in themselves. They might be Googling about why I have headache. They might go to a doctor. Doctor might say one thing. But then, their real reason might be that, something in their relationship is totally fucked up. And they're really stressed, and it's their body's way of like, signaling that something's really not well. And they might be changing their diet, trying different painkillers, be worried about, do I have a brain tumor or some disease? And if you try to talk to them about, hey, I help people to improve their relationships, they don't give a fuck because they don't understand yet that that's the problem. But if you can, example, catch them from this like, hey, do you have a headache? And you recently had a fight with your partner. These two things might be connected. You might get their attention that way, and then educate them a little bit more about that thing, and then they are like hooked to learn more because now you teach them how these things might be combined. So now when you think about these people you have talked, what seem to be the common problems, like practical pain points or things that they say out loud themselves that they recognize themselves in their current situation?
Yeah. So I actually sent one of my clients like a feedback form to figure that out. And what he wrote was, I've tried forcefully pushing through and grinding out to my goals, but I'd always fall back to the same place I started from. I didn't know what the problem was. That's what he said, as well as he wasn't able to capitalize on like the information in his business programs, wasn't able to take action, build funnels, do organic outreach, do all the things he was supposed to do. There was like this block holding him back. So I think in terms of the things they're noticing on the external that are similar to the headache, inability to take action, low motivation, anxiety, self-doubt, low energy, and it's just like you're not doing what you know you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go and do something, but you're just anxious and you're held back.
Okay. Yeah, so good example is that they have bought some business program, online program, something. They have everything laid out. They're unable to put it in practice, or they know what to do, they cannot just do. And the words they use to describe their things, their current understanding of the thing is like, I have self-doubt that comes, and then you can write down like what is the inner dialogue for them regarding the self-doubt. Okay, low motivation, what other words they might use for that. Okay, low energy, how do they feel internally, like what kind of feelings is related, what kind of like things happen when they're low energy, like how does their morning start when they're low energy. You can always take this one sentence or a couple of words and then put more details into it and like map out their current situation and things that they're going through. That gives you like bullets or cannonballs for your marketing or your sales, or when you're trying to reach out to people and talk with them, knowing like let's say if you're talking with someone, you might add certain words that that resonates with your ideal clients, and those can be the bait where you try like in a conversation, like, I don't know, have you done example direct outreach, but like if you know what is your ideal client situation and language, you can talk in those terms and those words, and the people who have that situation will take the bait. Example like fishing, what kind of fish you want, you should choose your bait depending on the fish, also the location and time of the day. This is something I think in marketing and so on, like people doing direct outreach, it's more like they're cramming in numbers of how many people they try to do a lot of direct outreach, do this way, but it's more about like right words there to pique their interest, talk more. And then when you get them on example phone call, that should be like seal the deal, because if you can help them, you can pinpoint the problems and so on, that they will get interested. But it's like the phase of like fishing, like getting them interested about your bait, and taking the bait for the first time, example answering your message, or booking a call with you to talk more and so on. Okay, so the current situation they're going through is that, and they want the bulletproof motivation, endless energy to actually pursue their goals, things. They have goals, the pain is that they have the goals, but they're not able to go towards them. Now, then, because your capacity to how many people you can help is still really small, and you want to get started fast and gain attraction or traction. Now we want to attach this like, because so many people go through this painful phase. Now, really strong thing to do here is like, we know the phase of life where they are. Probably every high achiever goes through this phase at least once in their life, even maybe multiple times. And then attaching it to more like a certain group of people, so where you go fishing, because you might find salespersons and they are probably connected to each other from one place, and investing firms from other place, and basketball players from other place. So now when we have the good bait, we don't want to be fishing in 3 ponds when your resources are still like really limited. We want to find the pond where you think you will have the best success, or whom you are most interested, whom you have had best traction so far. So you have at least, example, you have one salesperson here. So you have at least like one testimonial, one good story to tell. So it might be a good start. And then later on, you will, go after all the bonds there. But, let's conquer this one bond first. And then it's easy to just copy the same proven method to other bonds. But let's figure out this, how to fish this fish in this one environment first. So this kind of situation, this is the problem you solve for them. And there are different groups of people who go through the same stuff. So is it the salesperson or what group of people you would want to niche first?
I think the group of people is honestly entrepreneurs, but it's really weird because, for instance, there's another person I'm taking on. I'm doing free demos to get testimonials. He's been trying to start his like psychedelic integration business, but he's like held back by anxiety, self-doubt, if he's good enough, if he can do it, and he can't even get his website launched. That's where he's stuck. And we're about to do some work on that, but it tends, so I guess it's entrepreneurs, but the thing about that is like, I myself am a beginning entrepreneur, so it's a little weird for me to like coach other entrepreneurs when I'm just beginning. And B, maybe it's a wrong belief, but it seems like the market for helping entrepreneurs is so saturated.
There's, I think, a lot of people helping entrepreneurs who are starting out, but they're the people who are selling the program, how to set up the funnels and so on. And that's why they get stuck. That's why there's so many people stuck, because they have the how, what to do and even how to do it. But then there are the inner side of things that I think is like, this is like, if the problem exists in the marketplace, then it hasn't been solved yet. Or if there are solutions, they are not scaled big enough population. Example, nowadays the internet is full of information, how to set up website, how to set up funnel. There's software that makes it so easy. So that side of the things is like, no one is held back by, I don't know how to set up a funnel, because they can find a solution really fast. But the thing where you cannot really find an efficient solution, or at least in a scale that everyone could easily tap into those, is internal problems. I think it's a huge market. It's like, I see it so much, that people have. I have had so much that problem myself. That has been, for me, example. You buy one program, you get all the information you need to set up the business. But then the journey to grow, the inner growth, that's never-ending journey. And especially people are starting entrepreneurship, it might be even maybe years before they can, get the initial traction and confidence and get it going. So I think there is a lot market. So let's say if it's entrepreneurs who are like starting their journey, they've bought some program, they know what they should do and so on, but they're held back. How does that sound?
It sounds good. The only thing about it is that it sounds very similar to like what Reality Mastery is, It sounds like kind of like, I don't know if it's the same or not, which is the only issue I'd have with it.
I'm not sure how Reality Master is currently marketed, but what Quasi has always been is like, it's like there's this like revenue barrier. At first, it was like people who want to jump into entrepreneurship, but I'm not sure, is it currently more for people who are like, they have a revenue cap, like they are already doing some business, they are already made the jump, but they're stuck, in making 5K a month, 10K a month. They're just making it by, but then making the next step. I'm not sure how he's marketing it currently, but the thing is like, it doesn't matter if it's actually good if there are solutions already in the marketplace, because it shows that it can be solved and there are people buying those things. The question here is, example, like if there are people still struggling with that thing, there can be multiple service providers. There is enough big bond for them. And one thing is also like how you can make this different. And Reality Master, it's a program. You're starting doing one-on-one, right? Yeah. So that's immediately the thing that makes you different. I'm currently like, I've been through so many programs that I'm happily invest double, triple amount for one-on-one stuff, because it's faster, more efficient. It's customized. So when you're starting out, you don't have to think about that at all. Then if you're starting to build a program, then it might be good to check out what are the other options on the market and think about how I can position this in a way that it's not too similar, or how I can make it better, where it's like, it's just better. I'm selling it like same price or cheaper, but it's delivering double the results or whatever it is. But for you right now, when you do one-on-one, the good thing is like you have unique product. And especially if you can really solve the problem and you do it on one-on-one, that's a sought after product there. You're selling a limited edition product. And once you can just show that you get results and you get that initial traction going on and your network starts growing, you start to get that audience who to market and keep marketing every week. They will during the time turn into your clients when they see that they get results and when they hit the painful enough situation where they are desperate to message you. Yeah. And then what you said about this, like, oh, it feels a little bit weird that you're starting with this thing and you're helping other entrepreneurs that are starting, but I think that's cool because you're showing that how it's possible. You can make also a testimonial about yourself. You can yourself use your own story, like, hey, this kind of thing popped up in my mind, and then I caught this, a thought loop, and I, this is how I solved it. And then the other people are like, I'm having same kind of thoughts and I'm not able to deal with it myself. I need your help because you can deal with it. And then also it's short pace. You put work into this couple of months, you're done. You're on the next phase. So it's not like you will be on that phase for a long time. So yeah, but I talked quite a lot. So where is your mind going right now? Where's your latest thoughts?
I like everything that I provide is more so of going from taking action and being in alignment.
Yeah, I didn't hear like last half minute. The internet was like laggy. So can you start again?
Yeah, for sure. So I like everything you're saying. I think the real truth in the service I provide is like I can get someone from not taking action and having like internal conflict and this stuck feeling to having this like fire inside them. So they're like, it's like their purpose has been ignited. They don't have any lack of confidence because they're just so in alignment that like they're just moving forward towards their goals and they're taking action. And I can get them from that place of anxiety, self-doubt, and being stuck and paralyzed to taking that action, having a fire inside them, super passionate about what they're doing. That I can guarantee. The results, no one can ever guarantee that you'll get to like 10K a month, but what I've seen so far is like, the case studies that I'm working with, they've gotten results that have exceeded anything they ever could have thought and they've done, but it's not based on their revenue. It's based on like the basketball player like doesn't have any anxiety when he's on the court and he's playing better than he's played. The sales guy finally can connect with people on sales calls and not be anxious about how he comes off, and he's really heart-centered and he's in like almost getting his dream job. So I think it's a really good area, but I think the anxiety and the self-doubt might be the initial pain point, because I did market research on like the basketball player. He said the one thing that he really wanted to avoid was at all costs, he wanted to where is it? One sec. I want to avoid at all costs feeling debilitating performance anxiety for my basketball next year. So I'm starting to notice, like, at least with anxiety, these people are much more motivated by pain than pleasure. One of the market people actually said that I emailed, he said that he's much more motivated by like avoiding the pain than he is about like unlocking his peak performance. So I think starting somewhere with like either the headache, I don't know if the headache is the anxiety, it might just be not taking action, or like
it's the anxiety because like I have had periods of anxiety myself. It really fucks up everything. You cannot enjoy anything. You don't get anything done because of the anxiety. It's like I'm okay, like playing video games all day, you know.
That's what he said. That's what he was
Yeah,
doing.
as long as it doesn't get so bad that like everything falls apart in my life, I'm happy to be playing some hours of video game or checking YouTube. But if I'm checking YouTube videos or playing games and I still have anxiety, if I have anxiety from morning to evening, or anytime I try to do something I would want to do and I hit the anxiety, and the only way to get away from that anxiety is to play the video games. That's probably what is happening. You play the video games, you don't at least feel so much anxiety, then you try to do something and that thing like locks you up and you know what I'm talking about. But can
Yeah,
you
so
repeat what the basketball said? I want to avoid at all costs.
feeling debilitating performance anxiety when I end up playing basketball next year.
Feeling.
Then the sales guy wrote he wanted to avoid knowing that I reached my goals, even though I had every opportunity to do so, because he has all the strategies, the tactics, the information. So they're kind of similar now.
Yeah. So it was
avoid feeling debilitating performance anxiety when I play basketball next year.
Yeah, and then the salesperson.
He said he wanted to avoid knowing that I didn't reach my goals, even though I had every opportunity to do so. Then the last note that's interesting for you that'll help is the person I'm onboarding to work with, he is wanting to do psychedelic therapy for psychedelic integration. But the thing he really wanted to avoid was like, he's in a job he hates. He's like a software engineer, and he's just feeling so burnt out by it that the one thing he wants to avoid is like not living his actual purpose in life and like not making a greater impact. So for him, it's more about impact than it is about performance. And like being in touch with his passion and living his passion as a psychedelic integration guide opposed to a software engineer.
Okay. But I think these all are like different sides of the same anxiety. It's like if you don't feel that purpose and have impact, you feel anxiety because there's no purpose in life, you are lost, you feel really bad about yourself, and you have that shitty feeling. The salesperson is like, I could have reached my goals, but I didn't. I had all the keys myself. There's no one else to blame anymore, so you will feel really shitty. Most of the people are so good in self-deceit that they will, blame external things to avoid feeling shitty. But he's in a place where he cannot avoid it anymore. He's conscious enough to know that shit. And those are the people you want, who are in a place that they have cornered themselves. There's no lies anymore. It's like they can avoid taking action, but the truth is already, out of the basket, so to speak. They know that it's all about them. And the basketball player, doesn't want to feel that performance anxiety if he continues playing. Okay, this is really interesting.
Can I say one more thing? I think it might be helpful. The thing I've noticed is like when I was talking to the guy who wanted to do the psychedelic integration, it's kind of like the men are very purpose driven, right? It's like they have a mission, they have a vision, they want to like be a change maker or an earth shaker or like a paradigm shifter, which are kind of cool words for marketing, but they're just held back by like this, they don't know it until they do the work, but like childhood trauma, like inner belief, subconscious stuff, like negative experiences, emotional blockages, karmic stuff. And it's just preventing them from like living their true life's purpose and absolutely like, because that's what makes you really happy, right? That's what gives them the bulletproof motivation and the endless energy when they tap into their purpose underneath the trauma. So it's like these guys want to make a greater impact and they're very purpose-driven men. I don't think it's high performing men. I think it's purpose driven.
Okay, really good stuff. Here's the thing: these sentences that you said about the basketball player, salesperson, and that the psychedelic, who wants to build a business around psychedelics, said are really good, because I think really many people kind of resonate with these. These are like the one sentences that really put in like concise, like it's like one sentence full of information that really resonates with the pain point. And then here's this like things like you want to be educating them and make them have those aha moments. Is like example on, if you're making some content, you want to talk to their pain points and so on to get their attention, and then teach them why these things are caused by these childhood traumas or emotional blockages, how these emotional blockages work, so they can recognize it. Once they recognize that shit, oh, in the childhood these things happened, and they can make the connection, then they're starting to look for solutions, meaning you. They need to see that cause effect. And then when you are like, hey, there's this solution. And then when on sales call, you attach, it's like, hey, you're here because of these things. And they're like, yeah, makes sense. I can totally see the cause and effect. Now we resolve it by this thing in let's say 6 weeks, you are here in this place. How much money you think you can, or sales you can achieve once, we make this transformation, or you make this transformation? And then they can start to see the value of your sales. You don't have to promise that at 10K.
So,
but you promise them.
So I asked that question on my market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry, my internet was lagging. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear now.
Okay, yeah, sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, just say what you were saying.
I was gonna say, I asked the salesperson what he thought like a fair price would be given his experience after 2 sessions, and he wrote $5,000 plus. So for motivated purpose, they're gonna make more revenue. Like, I just don't know how much.
Mm. Yeah, and I think you don't need to know like how much, but it's in the sales call, like just once you just like educate them in the right way, they will notice themselves. They're like, I'm doing 5K now, just making my living, and I know that by pulling in together this knowledge and skills I already have, I'm like confident I can do at least 10K. They can see that this is the thing they need to do to unlock the next jump from 5K to 10K. And the one thing is also on the sales course is like, if someone cannot see, they have some other problems too. Example on the tactical or strategy side to unlock the next jump. Then you might say to them like, hey, sorry, this is not the next step for you. I see you have these problems, but I think you have to first, figure out XYZ things before we start doing this thing. And you want the people who are in the place where this is the next obstacle or bottleneck to open that will make the next jump. And then their next problem might be again strategical or tactical, or they have to improve their skills. That's how it goes. You improve this area, you go to this area, and so on. But it's good to know that they're exactly on the point, like they have everything else, but this is the next bottleneck. And now if we switch to starting to think more in like now we have mapped out like what they have been saying, what kind of feedback you have gotten, their situation, and we start to focus more on brainstorming, like what would be, example, the one sentence, the niche of a message to get their attention, and to give your messaging and marketing and everything the backbone. So let's say entrepreneurs who are starting out or wanting to build something. They're purpose driven. They want to have impact on something or build something. And now the thing Is there a certain time frame you can, example, promise them the shift to happen?
The thing is, it's a little bit tricky in the sense that everyone's unique psychology is different and people have different traumas. They have one person could take an hour, one person could take like 3 months. But what I've noticed is like 6 weeks or so of consistent work is enough to get like a really significant notable difference in your energy, your performance. So I think having it be a 6-week or a 90-day thing, just to be safe on the upside, could be good. But at the beginning, I'd want to test 6 weeks because I want to keep it shorter and sweeter if possible.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is like, especially when doing one-on-one, it's good to remember that then you can have this kind of guarantee like yeah, I promise in 6 weeks. But it's of course individual how long the process takes. And if in your case it takes longer, we will take 1 or 2 extra calls if it's needed. But then your marketing wise, you can say 6 weeks, sales call wise 6 weeks, to keep them like frame about like, how this thing goes, how long this takes and so on. And with someone, it might take even less, when you're doing one-on-one, you can customize it, but for the messaging and communication, you've got to have like it, or it's good to have some kind of basic frame for there. So one thing is we can use like in 6 weeks or less than 6 weeks or whatever. Now, are the keywords to use anxiety and self-doubt if you want to really tap into their current pain?
That's where I'm stuck because I think purpose-driven is like one of the key words, whether it's men or entrepreneurs. But in terms of anxiety and self-doubt, I'm not sure how the market responds to that. So I was going to run a small scale test and like send out some targeted ads to see how like the click-through rates for anxiety and self-doubt for men. But right now, I don't know, honestly.
Okay, let's start brainstorming, because once we just start doing it, things start to click. So I help anxious entrepreneurs shift or I help entrepreneurs with anxiety shift into bulletproof motivation and endless energy in less than six weeks. How does that sound to you?
It sounds good as a start. Because the pain points at the beginning, it's anxious entrepreneurs. But I'm not sure, like, I know you said you want to cast a really small net at the beginning. The thing is, like, there's the salesperson, there's the basketball player, there's the corporate. I wonder if entrepreneurs is like really where I want to work, because like for me, it's just like purpose-driven men who just have a vision. They just want to like have a greater impact, serve people. They're like heart-centered. I love working with those people, because with entrepreneurs can be so many different kinds of people. There can be like, people who are just motivated by money, people just motivated by status. But with purpose-driven men, I feel like if that's a way to get people in, the people who are focused on like a grander vision tend to be people who like I love to work with more. What do you think?
Yeah, let's brainstorm different angles and just like we will be brainstorming a lot of stuff, shifting, different words until things start to click. So I help purpose-driven entrepreneurs shift from stuck to bulletproof motivation and endless energy in less than 6 weeks. This is focusing more on like, what there is to gain kind of side. How does this sound to you?
Sounds good. Because yeah, I like it because what they're noticing, their headache is being stuck. They can't take action on the programs. They can't do their organic. They can't do their freaking like VSL designs. They can't like run their ads. So that sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing here is like, the vibe in this message is good, I think. It's really painting the picture of like what there's to gain. But I think it needs more specificity in a way that it really grabs someone's current situation better. So I think if there's purpose-driven entrepreneur, I think it's something like there's at least certain entrepreneurs who really like identify a little bit like purpose-driven. You know, they have the bigger purpose. They feel like this is exactly what they're meant to do. You know, they have the bigger goals. You know, they're driven entrepreneurs. So let's say for the entrepreneurs, the big thing is like they know what to do. They have the skills or the information or how to there, but they're not just putting it together. So that's if you're thinking like, what is the practical shift that will happen as the end result of resolving these past traumas and getting them internal self into better alignment? That will be the thing that, you know, they will take action. They will, you know, actually get things done. So maybe we can be a little bit more specific and be like, I'm just trying to like, I help entrepreneurs go from knowing what to do but not taking action into knowing what to do but not doing anything into taking action every day in less than 6 weeks. Okay, I help entrepreneurs go from knowing what to do but not doing anything state into taking action every day in less than 6 weeks.
Yeah, because another way I would say it is like helping, you know, purpose-driven entrepreneurs go from stuck to a greater impact and income in 6 weeks. Because the thing is, like, I can never guarantee anyone a financial ROI. It's kind of up to them, but I can I'm pretty sure that like if you clean up your internal, you're gonna be able to show up without, you know, bulletproof motivation and like reach out to people more, do better on your sales calls, make a bigger impact for your clients because you're more heart-centered, and make a bigger income. So like for the catch, it could be, you know, make a bigger impact and income. We're helping purpose-driven entrepreneurs eliminate anxiety and unlock greater impact and income, you know, but I don't know how that translates roughly.
Okay, we're going in the right direction. So the thing here is like, you know, when we start to talk about this, like eliminating anxiety or like, hey, taking action every day, it starts to be something that they can kind of like imagine in their mind, how would my life shift if I would be taking action every day? And that's, you know, the good point in the messaging, what we want to really nail, that when they read the message, they already have some kind of like, their imagination starts running with it and they start to be like, sounds nice. You know, for me, like return your, you know, niche offer message into ideal client magnet in just one video call or in just one call. It has the specificity of just one call. Okay. And turning this message that is not working into like, okay, people actually would like contact me and so on. You know, that's something where people can, you know, start to imagine what would actually happen. That being like, I help people with their niche offer message, you know. That's difference. So but we really want to nail here that it's not just eliminating the pain, but really give the image that the end result of you start to take action, you start to make more income. We want to really grab that also here, not just taking the anxiety away. So let's say I help purpose-driven entrepreneurs eliminate anxiety and shift into and start taking action every day towards their goals in less than 6 weeks. Because now here it paints the picture that you have anxiety that is stopping you from taking action. I help you eliminate the anxiety so you can actually start taking the action forward. Okay, I think this is in the good direction.
Because that's easy for me to like do, because like, for instance, the guy who was in sales, he spent 4 years trying to do his business. He's done like 2 sessions now, and like he already has a full-time job and is like motivated and interviewing for sales, and like that's a piece of cake. But the thing is, I feel like that's underselling it, because what's going to happen for him is he's going to have a greater impact for himself and his family and a greater income. So I feel like it's like you are unlocking that like action, but I wonder, like, people don't really care as much about the action as they do the impact and the income. Like, I feel like the impact and income is like the end result. The
end result of action. Yeah. Okay, so but I think the action here is the bridge. Like, it sounds for me a little bit like, eliminate anxiety and unlock, the end results. Feels a little bit like there needs to be maybe something in between, like eliminate anxiety and go to something that then brings these results. But let's say I help purpose-driven entrepreneurs eliminate anxiety.
Oh, I know what it is. Eliminate anxiety and unlock bulletproof motivation to make a greater impact and income.
Motivation to create bigger impact and income. Okay, I help purpose-driven entrepreneurs eliminate anxiety and unlock bulletproof motivation to create bigger impact and income. Okay. Yeah, getting better. Is that unlock bulletproof motivation? I think, like, can we write it down in more practical terms? Like, eliminate anxiety. Like, what is the practical thing that happens? Like, how it practically shows up in their life when they have bulletproof motivation? Daily action.
The action they take is they start, doing more organic outreach. They start applying to jobs. They start working out more. They start doing all the things they know they're supposed to be doing, but they couldn't before.
Okay, hear this out. I help purpose-driven entrepreneurs eliminate anxiety that is blocking them from achieving bigger impact and income. They're really highlighting that this is the block, this is the thing. I eliminate that and boom, the end result starts to flow.
Dude, I think that's it. That feels really resonant to me. Simply because, like, to give you context, right? Like, I work in sales right now, but because of like the practices that I do, that I teach my clients, like, my energy is ridiculous. I work until 9 p.m. Eastern, and then I work on my own business from like 10:30 p.m. to 2 a.m. not even tired. I do get up, do extra work for my like new clients for my coaching company. Like I practice with them. Then I go into a sales job and I'm like running a sales team and I'm like one of the top performers there. And it's endless motivation because there's no anxiety and you're just so purpose driven that you're just like unstoppable. Like that's what I want to get these people to. And I think it's weird because that's what I'm doing to start this own business. But it's like you get the same tools that I have where like I can be in the sales job. I can perform in like the highest pressure job out there outside of entrepreneurship and like hit the numbers that are like, you know, my peak performance. And like you don't even get tired. Like I don't even get tired. So that's kind of the result I'm trying to give them. Like bring them to how I feel now in their own business and make a much bigger impact than I do in sales.
All you have to do is show them your calendar on your value video.
That's what I wrote, man. So like that's exactly what I did because like the whole pitch is kind of like if I can go from zero to hero, being like stuck in my entrepreneurial journey, getting stuck at zero and like having such anxiety about it, then like over the years, like using the system, I lost 100 pounds. I got in like really good shape. I like got promoted to like a sales team leader in like 4 months of working in a company. Once I figured out how to master my mind and I'm clearing like over 100K cash collected per month on average, look what this can do for you. Like you want the system because it's going to unlock your peak performance like nobody's business.
Exactly. You have a really good case about yourself to tell, like, hey, I'm like, this is my current life and I'm still, taking action to build my business. And every day I show your calendar from past month or something. And then they're like, if I could have even half of that, how much money I would be doing. You have really good case here. And I think you can easily make a damn good value video. It's just, getting the attention of the right people and getting the clarity for you about who you're going after and what's your core message. Okay. Okay, let me read this again and say that, is there any words or any parts where you feel like we can make it even better? I help purpose-driven entrepreneurs eliminate anxiety that is blocking them from achieving bigger impact and income.
I'm just going to look up a synonym. The only part that I think we could make flow more is like that is blocking them.
Yeah.
Let's see. Because it is blocking them, but it's like the way I kind of see it is like the impact and the income is just a function of consciousness and like energy and intention. So it's kind of like they're just at this resonant frequency and they're like, it's like bigger than a block. It's kind of like this. It's like you're in a different reality. It's like when you're trying to like, it's like you're on Earth, but you need to be on the moon. It's like so much more than a block. The only way to get there is like a quantum leap, right? It's not about taking more action. It's about fixing the internal so you can just like be someone who's on the moon instead of on Earth. And so instead of block, it might be.
Okay, leap. It's not just taking the anxiety away, but making the leap. Like, okay, eliminate the anxiety. And then we want to like, there's also the step to the next level of kind of performance. Leap sounds a really nice word for me because I think in their situation, they also like have resonate with this, like if they could just make the leap. Maybe they're trying to build their, first business or something, making the leap or, making the internal leap from this state to another. It has this nice, like, ring to it.
It's like a quantum leap, you know?
Help purpose-driven entrepreneurs make leap from anxiety. I help purpose-driven entrepreneurs make a leap from anxiety to what that brings then the bigger impact and income? Is it the endless energy? No.
It's not even that. It's like, it's just so intangible because it's the mind. It's just like this fire, right? It's just like, you're going to do it. It's just a matter of when. It's just like such strong self-conviction that you become unstoppable. You become like a magnet. Like, it's just hard to put words on as the thing.
Okay. I help purpose-driven entrepreneurs make the leap from anxiety and self-doubt into I don't know, endless confidence or things you said like was like inner fire, it's just a matter of time.
They ignite their inner fire. It's like this ignition. It could be, I help purpose-driven entrepreneurs eliminate anxiety and self-doubt. And
I think this may make a leap. It paints this picture of like, this is your current situation and we are leaping you from here to here. So from anxiety and self-doubt into finding the right words for the like tangible like feeling and result.
it's passion and purpose, because when you have passion and purpose together, that's what causes the ignition. You know what your true life's purpose is, and you're just so driven that like you're gonna succeed. It's just a matter of when.
Here's the thing. They're purpose-driven entrepreneurs, but right now they don't feel like they're driven. So what if we drop that purpose-driven from the start and just like, I help entrepreneurs make a leap from anxiety and self-doubt into let's say being aligned with your purpose and having
I think the word I was looking for was like power, because they're getting like power and purpose. You have this like inner power where like it gives you the inner resolve to do these things.
Okay, I help entrepreneurs make a leap from anxiety and self-doubt into it's like there are good things that we can put here, but I'm trying to find a way where the words and things would flow. So like, yeah, inner power. I think like the fire is also good. Or I help entrepreneurs make a leap from anxiety and self-doubt into taking action every day with strong sense of purpose.
I think it's moving in the right direction. When I send out like the market research surveys, one of the questions I asked them was, this program might be marketed as a 6-week transformational solution. helping men transform anxiety and self-doubt into high performance, bulletproof confidence and passion. Do you think this is what it should be marketed as? And that's what they said if they felt it was like. So one of the words that we didn't talk about was like high performance, but I don't know how relevant it is, honestly.
Well, we can play with that. So I thought, like, if you simplify this a little bit, like instead of make a leap from just like I help entrepreneurs leap from anxiety and self-doubt, leap or transform. Is transform better? It sounds like more like long term.
Yeah.
Okay. I help entrepreneurs transform from anxiety and self-doubt into peak performance with inner fire, with strong purpose in 6 weeks. You know, what sounds better? Inner fire, strong purpose. Or like I help entrepreneurs transform from anxiety and self-doubt into a peak performer who crushes all the goals, or like becoming a peak performer that does something.
Into a peak performer with massive impact and income, or greater impact and income.
I'd like the massive, because greater is like kind of this like, okay, greater, but what? But massive is like boom. So I help entrepreneurs transform from anxiety and self-doubt into peak performers with massive impact and income. There's the tangible end results also. It's like there's the problem and the feelings you are having. We are transforming it, and we are transforming you into peak performer. Everyone wants to be a peak performer. And here are then the tangible results that it will have the bigger impact and income also.
Yeah, and I think, go ahead.
Yeah, and here on the end, I think there are 2 things we can add. Either it's like in a time frame, or with, what is the name of your system or something.
Mm-hmm. My guess is for the end result, they care about the time frame. Given that it's going to be massive impact opposed to greater, maybe it should be more than 6 weeks, but I don't know. What do you think?
It could be. I think here could be also good if it said that in X weeks, because then it also specifies this like specific system, specific time frame. It builds this picture of like this proven method. Full. It's not just like in around 6 weeks. No, it's 6 weeks or 8 weeks, whatever, it's message, but like full. Like you come here in this time frame, full. That's what we want to build in our messaging.
Yeah, 6 weeks is good then.
In 6 weeks. One thing is like I think 6 weeks quite used in these things. So if you want to have like 7 weeks or something, it sounds for me much more like specific somehow, because 6 weeks is so used, I think.
Yeah.
Even like if it would be like 5 weeks or 7 weeks, it sounds somehow much more specific.
Let's go with 7 weeks then.
And if you have space, if you are putting something on Facebook profile, maybe you don't have space for everything, but if it's like something like on your website, you tell about yourself, like your headline. Then you could also put here, like with what system or with what in 7 weeks
with
or it can be just like with one-on-one coaching, because that's
yeah,
valuable.
yeah, it's the thing is it's like a mind, body, and like psycho-spiritual system for like healing your like internal state. So it's wordy, you know. We can call it, I mean, the buzzwords in the society are like mindfulness or like meditation, but that's not really what I do. It's more so like you're going on an inner journey and like healing trauma, or I can say by healing, you know, yours, or by mastering your subconscious, or like by unblocking your subconscious or something like that.
Okay. What we can do here is have example something like, I help entrepreneurs transform from anxiety and self-doubt into peak performance with massive impact and income in 7 weeks by resolving unconscious past trauma. Because saying this also adds the specificity of like, this is not just this like catchphrase that sounds really cool, but it's like tells something about what you do in a way that brings interest there. And maybe there is someone who is also enough conscious that they know that they have past trauma, or it's something on the unconscious side of things. And it might make them more interested about this thing, because they might be like, yeah, I have been looking something like this, but now, you know, someone is here, you know, presenting me something like this kind
That's
of thing.
the key. That's the key, because in the market right now, I see so many of these programs that are like, you can scale to 10K per month in like 50 days or whatever. But the thing is that there are so many people that go to those programs, like my client, they have all the tools, but because they have this unconscious past trauma, it's not going to work. So this is kind of the missing thing in the market right now, I think. Because if you combine the internal with the strategies and the tactics, then you're going to be like a laser. And I think the thing in the market that's really good right now is like the focus is on like visualization, creating new things, you know, parallel realities, all that cool stuff. But there's a missing point where no one's talking about your like what you internalize from your children. I mean, your parents growing up, like your heartbreaks, your
the package,
losses, huh?
The heavy package you're bringing into this present moment.
Yeah, like my client realized that he basically wanted to be an entrepreneur because he was bullied as a kid and he felt inferior. And then he's like, yeah, I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I want to go into sales. Then he pivoted to sales, and like now he's much more fulfilled just on that path. So like it's a lot of entrepreneurship is like a reflection of unprocessed trauma for some people.
Okay. How does this sound? I help purpose-driven entrepreneurs resolve unconscious past trauma in 7 weeks to become a peak performer with massive impact and income.
I love that. Unconscious past trauma in 7 weeks to become a peak performer with massive impact and income.
So because it doesn't specify their like current symptoms, but it speaks to those people who are in a place where they know that there's some package of things, and this builds the curiosity of like, what is this thing in 7 weeks? And this is the result what they want. And that's, I think this is highly, this builds so much curiosity. It's like, okay, purpose driven, they can identify with that. They, on some level, they know that, you know, they're interested maybe on the mind side, the unconscious. They know that there may be, if nothing else unconsciously, they know that there's some unresolved things. This is different from what there is already in that. This is not another mindset program. This is unresolving the package to free yourself to move forward. And there, on the end, there is what they really want.
This is it, man. I'm telling you, because you're spot on, simply because that's like authentic to me, right? Like I want the people who come to work with me, they're like people who are interested in this kind of work, right? They know there's something going on. They know they might have had like difficult heartbreaks or difficult relations with their parents, but now they're dealing with anxiety and self-doubt, and they want to resolve it. Because for those people, this like skyrockets their performance and like the kind of jobs they get, and like it happens in like indirect ways. Like when you
Mm.
figure out, like with this sales guy, right? He realized he didn't want to be an entrepreneur. Now he's like a few months out from getting a sales job that's like 10 to 20 grand a month, just because he became clear, like, this isn't what I want to do. Then his impact and income is going to skyrocket when he joins his team he's going to join. So I think this is really representative of like how I work, and it would attract the right people to me. My only question would be, is the market ready? Are entrepreneurs thinking about unconscious past trauma, or are they going to see it and just not resonate with it?
I think this needs to be tested, because it might be that maybe the market is not ready, so to speak. But I have a hunch that if the bigger, this is like, if most of the entrepreneurs are not ready for this, this is so much unique compared to what there is out there, that those who are ready will be really interested. It's like, this is kind of niching down in a way where it's like more like catering to that smaller amount of people who are already conscious enough. Niching in a different way, not niching by, what pond we are going to fish, but niching down to that section of the market who is already conscious enough. And in next 2 years, this will probably become, bigger thing. This will be the next thing after the mindset. This like resolving the past traumas and stuff and healing these things. It's probably like where it's gonna go on the mindset, mind and energy side of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I think this is it. And then what I'm going to do to test it is, I think I'm going to redo my VSL, redo my like little PowerPoint, and then run like a really small scale test to like, see what the click-through rate is, what the opt-ins are, who watches the value video, who books a call on like a very small budget, just to see. Because it's worth knowing at the very least, just because this is what I'm most passionate about. And if I can do it this way, it's so much more representative of who I am and what I do, opposed to helping purpose-driven entrepreneurs eliminate anxiety to become a peak performer with massive impact and income. Because that second one, I'll get the same result with the people, but they might not be as much of a right fit. Like, because they might come to it not ready to resolve past trauma, because it's not easy journey.
This is part of your service delivery, attracting the right people at the right time. I think that's a part of the service delivery that is not enough talked about. If you have the wrong client at the wrong time, you cannot do anything with them. They cannot get results, even if your program or your thing or your method would be really brilliant. You need to have the right person at the right time. And if you have the right person at the right time, it might be one call, you have them with them, and passive results. Because it was, the exact stimuli they needed, or exact piece of information, or exact piece of, some kind of like, communication or things they needed at that moment. And I think it's always, this is one of those things that is like, goes against maybe the grain of like how these things been run. It's like, but these things, you have been checking United Mind Media, so the deeper side of things. Start from the place that really resonates with you, and you will figure out how to communicate it in practical terms, so that the people who are not conscious enough yet, you will get those into your funnel and you can educate them. And also, energetically, when you're aligned with your own stuff, you will attract people and they don't know how they ended up there. All they say is like, I found it interesting and my intuition told that I should contact you. And that's when you're talking to the subconscious and the energetic side of things. We can do so much marketing on the practical, conscious level, but then we are limited by what people already know what they're looking for, what are the current paradigms. Or we can tap into the deeper quantum level, where people will be attracted to you and they will find you and they don't know how it happened. How I found Red, I had just promised my girlfriend at the time that apply to the university you really want to go, I will figure out the finances. And then I started to be like, okay, I just need to do something in my entrepreneurship to really kick up things to the next level. The next day, I was just, I don't know what I was doing on Facebook. On the people you may know section, it popped Red's profile. And I was like, I know Red from theconsulting.com. I clicked his profile, and he had uploaded a new video like the day before, something like how to find your purpose. I watched the 15-minute video, and I was like, I went and booked a call with him. And I was like, okay, I cannot explain this, but something like clicked. And it was this funny thing, like the day previously, I made this, promise to my girlfriend, and it kicked myself into this gear of like, okay, now I need to kick things to the next level, and things started to like align. It's called like, I think Kwasi says this like, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And it's the energetic side of things, how
so
things align.
I found you through that video. I was looking on Rhett's video, that same video, and I saw your YouTube comment. You were like, I've been so compelled to watch a video like this. Then I'm like, okay, I need to get in touch with this guy. He's everywhere. That's how I found you, which is insane.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. I think the only thing, the question I have is, this is the one I'm going to start with for sure. But you mentioned another one where it was earlier on that speaks more to like where the market might be at, the conscious side. That was like helping entrepreneurs transform anxiety and self-doubt into greater impact and income. It was one of the earlier iterations. Can you remind me?
I will send you this, but it was, I help entrepreneurs transform from anxiety and self-doubt into peak performance with massive impact and income in 7 weeks. And then you can add by resolving unconscious past trauma, depending on how you want to construct it. And one good thing here is also like, in your ads, you want to be damn specific. Probably you want to make one ad talking to anxiety, one ad talking to self-doubt, and then your value video can be talking to the more about this, because like, okay, I need to go to lunch soon, but I will just tell you about this, what I call like I don't know, this, rake, this thing you use to collect leaves. I have to come up with a good name for this metaphor, but there's the stick part of the rake, and then there's the part with the fingers to collect the leaves. That's like your marketing. The fingers are different ads, different posts with different, you have different angles to things, and they're really pointy and sharp. If you have only stick, your product, good funnel, you cannot collect anything because you don't get any people's like the attention. But if you only have the rakes, the rake of the things, but not stick, you get a lot of, it's easy to collect the leaves to the rake, but then it's really cumbersome. It's not efficient to rake them in. So you need to have good product that really solves a problem, a funnel that really aligns with that thing, and then your rake pulls in the people. So you can have a single finger stepping into really specific symptom they're having or situation, and in that ad you educate them why this thing is caused by these things. So when they start watching the ad, because they're right now going through that anxiety, and then once they read the ad or watch the video ad, whatever kind of ad it is, you educate them where they start to get interested about these unconscious past traumas, or something clicks and they're like, shit, this makes so much sense. You tell a client story, your own story, and they start to think in their head like, okay, now they want to learn more about the unconscious past traumas. So your value video and your opt-in page can talk about unconscious past trauma. Your ad title and your couple first sentences in the ad might not yet be able to talk about that thing because they're not ready for that. They're not interested about that. But after reading that long copy, they come to this, interesting, I need to learn more about this. Then they want to opt in for your video where you teach them more about that. And then when they watch the video, they have deeper aha moment, why they have these problems, how this thing works, and they become really interested about talking to you. And of course in video, when you are there presenting yourself, then it's the intuition, the unconscious side, where they feel like, okay, this is resonating. I need to talk to this guy. But this rake, does this like make sense? Like you need the pointy fingers and many angles, but it all comes down to educating them to this one point where they're interested about what you do and your solution. And that's the stick to funnel that is from opt-in page, value video, book a call, sales call to the product and delivering the results.
100%. Because yeah, what you're saying makes total sense, because the thing that's going to grab people's attention first is going to be the anxiety and self-doubt and going into more impact, peak performance and income. But the vehicle is the unconscious trauma, which throughout my nurture campaigns, throughout my funnel, I'm going to start to explain like, I thought it was all, my client thought it was all about taking massive action, grinding, going through consulting groups, but he wasn't getting results. But then in 2 sessions, he just found these unconscious stories about difficult experiences. And then all of a sudden he could actually do the outreach. He could actually get these jobs. He could actually show up on sales calls without being anxious. And he realized it was all internal. So I think I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely. But it's really cool to understand this, like in a way that the messaging is different at different points. And when you really understand their situation, you can create one ad per different symptom they're having. You can create an ad or a couple ads per different limiting beliefs they have. Whatever that catches their attention, because if you can get their attention and they start reading the copy, and then you have a, if example, the people who have the self-doubt and they're, they have the inner dialogue that they, know is self-doubt, you can write a really specific ad to really speaking to those people. It might get only 5% of your market, but then you will have other ad talking about anxiety that gets other 5% of the market. And that way you can, collect the whole bunch of leaves, but you have to find every person has different string to pull, but you can then take them all into the same funnel because the underlying theme is the same thing. You gather every people's attention, you educate them on this, underlying thing, and then they all become interested about this past trauma thing and how to resolve those things. And then you can have the one funnel.
You're 100% right. I think this is this is my niche. This is what I would love to do. And I'm going to test it. And I think it's a matter of when and not if, because who knows if the market's ready. But with that being said, I have strategies, either this one or the other one you mentioned about going from anxiety and self-doubt into peak performers with massive impact and income in 7 weeks. So I think I have 2 options that make it I think now it's time to start going and testing.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, but test it, tell me what are your results, how people react to this. And the fastest test you can actually do is your current clients or people who know what you do and you have messaging, send them this new version, your previous one and this current version, and ask them hey, what's your first gut reaction to this new message? Does it work? What part works? What doesn't? What are your first reactions? Because you can get already probably today few comments on this. Is it yeah, that's really cool. Oh, that actually really well puts in word that what I experienced with you. Or is it actually, what do you actually mean by these things? Because we are here we are so much deeper into this thing. So there might be some few words here and there that needs to be changed to something else that, makes sense or they know better. But it's that's why you get the feedback to then optimize the word choices and little things here and there. But I think the structure here is really good.
Awesome. Yeah, man, this was I've been stuck on this for I can't even tell you how long. For the past week, I've been up to 2 a.m. trying to figure this out. And if you saw my worksheet, I was going through 50 iterations and I was stuck. So I think what this really did for me today, it kind of just raised my energy, right? Having someone to come in and objectively see it, that's less attached and has the expertise in it, just saved me. I don't know if I would have ever figured this out on my own. So thank you so much. This was what I really needed at this time.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to help you. I can also see how your mind starts to go in different directions now when you get these different angles and different kind of knowledge into the depth of this thing. But do you have any other questions?
I think I'm good to go. I'm going to test it and I'll let you know. I'm going to redesign my VSL, all that stuff, and then just start getting some more case studies that are and targeting the client interviews to those messages and validating it. And I'll just keep going through the process.
Okay, good. I'll go now to lunch, but hey, let's keep in touch.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. This was like
Yeah.
one of the best hour and a half I've spent recently. So
Yeah.
enjoy your day and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you. See you.
All right, take care. Bye.